Hi there, and welcome back to Easy Peasy English, the podcast where we make learning English simple, motivating, and most importantly, real. I'm so happy you're here with me again today. Whether you're walking outside, cleaning your room, or just relaxing with your headphones in, thank you for giving yourself this moment to grow. This episode is a powerful reminder for every learner, at every level: don't wait, use what you know now. Let's be honest. Many English learners fall into the same trap: waiting. Waiting until they know more words. Waiting until their grammar is better. Waiting until their accent is perfect. Waiting until they feel confident. And while they're waiting, guess what happens? Time passes. Opportunities pass. Conversations are missed. Confidence fades. And slowly, English becomes something they're studying, not something they're living. But here's the truth: you already know more than enough to begin. Right now. Today. Even if your vocabulary is small. Even if you pause when you speak. Even if you make mistakes. The purpose of language is not perfection, it's connection. And you don't need a complete toolbox to start building something meaningful. You just need the courage to use the tools you already have. Imagine a child learning to speak. They don't wait until they've mastered grammar before talking to their parents. They use what they have: pointing, repeating, experimenting. And guess what? They improve by using the language, not by hiding it. You're no different. The fastest way to learn is not by waiting until you're ready, it's by getting started before you feel ready. I've spoken with so many learners who told me, "I'll start speaking English once I take a few more classes." Or, "Once I finish this textbook, I'll feel more confident." But confidence doesn't come from knowledge alone. It comes from action. Every sentence you speak, every conversation you try, every mistake you learn from, these are the real teachers. These are the moments that transform English from a subject in your notebook to a living skill in your real life. So ask yourself, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting to feel less nervous? You probably won't, not until you speak anyway. Are you waiting to stop making mistakes? You won't, mistakes are part of the process. Are you waiting for a perfect moment? There is no perfect moment. There is only now, and now is more than enough. One learner once told me, "I felt like I wasn't good enough to join English conversations, so I stayed quiet. But when I finally said just one sentence, just 'Hi, how are you?' people smiled. They didn't care that my grammar was simple. They were happy I spoke at all." That's the power of using what you know. It opens doors. It starts relationships. It builds confidence, one brave moment at a time. So instead of saying, "I need to learn more before I speak," try saying, "What can I say with what I know now?" Because that shift, that small, simple change, turns learning into action. And action turns fear into growth. And here's something powerful to remember: what you know now is already helping you grow. That one phrase you memorized. It might be the phrase that helps you order food today. That one sentence you practiced in your head. It might be the sentence that helps you start a conversation with someone new. We often underestimate the value of small knowledge, but language isn't built in huge leaps. It's built in moments. Tiny, courageous moments where you choose to use what you've got. You don't need advanced vocabulary to connect with someone. You don't need perfect tenses to ask for directions. You don't need to sound like a native speaker to tell your story. You just need to speak, even if your voice shakes. Even if your grammar isn't perfect. Because the goal is not to be impressive. The goal is to be understood. To show up. To try. And trying is not a small thing. Trying means you're brave. Trying means you're choosing progress over fear. You might say, "But I only know a little." That's okay. Say a little. Use that little. Because every time you use it, it becomes stronger. More natural. More yours. It stops being something you're studying and starts becoming something you live. Think about it, would you tell a friend to wait until they're fluent to use their English? Would you say, "Don't speak, you're not good enough yet"? Of course not. You'd say, "Go for it. Try. You're doing great." So why not say that to yourself? Why not be your own encourager? Your own supporter? You don't need permission to use your English. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin, right now, exactly as you are. And here's the best part, the more you use what you know, the more you'll learn. Real learning happens when language becomes part of your real life. When you order coffee. When you comment on a YouTube video. When you send a message to a friend in English. Those tiny moments. They're powerful. They're where confidence is built, not from grammar books, but from real-life bravery. So if you're waiting for a better accent, more vocabulary, the right time, I want to tell you something with all my heart, you don't need to wait. You are ready now. You have enough now. You are enough now. Your voice matters today, not just someday. And every time you choose to use your English, even just a little, you're choosing belief. You're choosing momentum. You're choosing growth. Because waiting feels safe, but action creates change. Action builds experience. Action teaches faster than any textbook. And the beautiful thing about using what you know is that it creates space for more. More curiosity. More practice. More joy. It's like opening a window, suddenly, everything feels lighter, clearer, more alive. Sometimes we forget that communication isn't about saying things perfectly, it's about showing up. About being present. About making the effort. Imagine you're speaking to someone who's learning your native language. Would you expect them to speak flawlessly? Of course not. You'd admire their effort. You'd probably smile and help them along. That's exactly how most people will respond to you, too, with kindness and encouragement, not criticism. But you have to give them a chance to hear you. And that means using what you know now, not waiting until it feels perfect. Too often, perfection becomes an excuse. We say, "I'll start tomorrow," or "I just need to study more first." But the truth is, those thoughts are fear in disguise. Fear of being judged. Fear of not sounding smart. Fear of embarrassment. And here's the truth no one tells you, that fear never really disappears, you just learn to move forward with it. You learn to feel the nerves and speak anyway. And every time you do, the fear gets quieter. Your voice gets louder. If you only practice in your head, you miss out on the most powerful part of language, human connection. When you speak, when you listen, when you participate, that's when English comes alive. That's when the words in your textbook turn into real-life tools. You're not learning English to be a perfect test taker. You're learning it to connect with people, to express your ideas, to understand and be understood. And you don't need to wait for some imaginary, right level, to do that. You already can. Every day you delay, you lose a chance to grow. But every time you use your English, no matter how basic, no matter how awkward, you move one step forward. And one step forward every day. That adds up to miles over time. It adds up to confidence. It adds up to fluency. You just have to start walking. Even saying just one sentence out loud today is a victory. Even making a small post in English, sending one message, asking one question, that's using what you know. And that's how you build a habit of showing up. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do something. Maybe today is the day you stop waiting. Maybe today is the day you say, "I'm ready," not because I'm perfect, but because I'm committed. Because confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. From using your English, not just thinking about it. From trying. From learning out loud. The biggest breakthroughs often come when we stop overthinking and start doing. You might be surprised by how much you can already say. You might realize that people do understand you. You might even inspire someone else, just by showing up with what you've got. Think about how many opportunities pass us by simply because we convince ourselves we're not ready. A chance to make a friend. A moment to help someone. A job interview. A simple chat with a stranger. These moments might seem small, but they can become the turning points in your journey, if you allow yourself to be part of them. And you can, right now, with what you already know. Don't underestimate how powerful your current English is. You've already learned so much, don't let it sit in silence. Let it breathe. Let it move. Let it grow through use. The truth is, you don't need to know everything to begin making progress. You just need to start using what you've got. Learning a language is like building a fire. You don't wait until you've collected a mountain of wood. You start with the few sticks you have. You light a spark. And once the fire starts burning, that's when you add more. But the fire only grows if you dare to strike the match. You might think your words are too simple. But simple words can create deep impact. You might think your sentences are too short. But short sentences can open long conversations. Fluency isn't about using complicated vocabulary, it's about having the confidence to use what you know in the moment. That's what makes you a communicator. That's what makes you a learner with momentum. One of the most dangerous lies learners tell themselves is this: I'll speak when I'm fluent. But here's the truth, no one ever wakes up one day suddenly fluent. Fluency is not a finish line. It's a process. A rhythm. A habit built over time. And it can only be built through action. If you want to speak better, you have to speak more. If you want to listen better, you have to listen more. If you want to grow, you have to stop hiding, and start trying. The beautiful thing is, your effort speaks louder than your mistakes. People can feel it when you're trying. They can feel your sincerity, your bravery, your willingness to step out of your comfort zone. And those things matter more than grammar. More than pronunciation. More than long, complex vocabulary. Real communication is about honesty, not perfection. So even if your English feels messy today, use it. Even if you're scared, speak anyway. Because the moment you stop waiting, you start living through English. You turn "I'm studying English" into "I'm using English." And that shift, that one brave decision, can change everything. Suddenly, the world becomes your classroom. Every person becomes a teacher. Every conversation becomes practice. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. The more proud you'll feel. And remember this, you will never feel ready. That's okay. Start anyway. Speak anyway. Because courage isn't waiting for the fear to disappear. It's doing the thing with the fear still in your chest. Every step forward, no matter how small, counts. So start now, not when you're fluent. Not when you're confident. Now. With what you know. With who you are. With everything you've got today. There's something deeply empowering about using what you already have, because it reminds you that you are not starting from zero. You've already taken so many steps. You've learned words, listened to conversations, watched videos, read posts. You've been absorbing English all along, and whether you feel it or not, it's in you. It's waiting to be used. And every time you speak, no matter how simple your sentence, you're saying, I believe in what I've learned so far. That belief is what turns passive knowledge into active skill. You don't need permission to participate. You don't need to be advanced to speak up. You just need to start where you are. Right now. Because waiting often leads to nothing. But doing, even imperfectly, opens doors. Maybe you'll stumble. Maybe you'll say the wrong word. So what? Everyone stumbles. Everyone gets words mixed up sometimes, even native speakers. What matters more is your willingness to try, to speak out loud, to join the conversation instead of watching from the sidelines. And every time you do, you gain something powerful, real-world experience. That's where true learning happens. That's where you start noticing what phrases work, which words come naturally, how people respond. You build your ear. You build your rhythm. You build the kind of confidence that only comes from doing, not just studying. Think of how children learn. They don't wait until they can speak in full sentences before they start talking. They just speak. They try. They make adorable, messy mistakes. And what happens? People encourage them. They grow. They improve. Why should it be any different for you? You're allowed to learn like a human, by doing, by making mistakes, by laughing, by trying again. You also start to feel more connected when you use your English. You realize this language isn't something separate from you, it's becoming a part of your voice, your identity. It becomes a bridge between you and the world. A bridge that gets stronger every time you step on it. But that bridge can't build itself. You have to walk across it. Bit by bit. Word by word. And even if you're not saying everything perfectly, you're still saying something. You're still showing up. You're still sending a message to the world, I'm here. I'm trying. I'm learning. And that message is powerful. It shows resilience. It shows courage. It shows that you're not letting fear control your growth. So today, ask yourself this: what can I do with the English I already have? Can I write one short comment in English online? Can I say hello to someone? Can I explain how I'm feeling, even in simple words? Can I watch a video and repeat one sentence out loud? It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. Use your English in life, not just in your lessons. Because the secret isn't studying more. It's using more of what you already know. It's applying that knowledge. Living it. Speaking it. Owning it. That's how you get better, not by waiting for the perfect day, but by showing up today, exactly as you are. There's a kind of freedom that comes when you stop waiting. When you stop saying, maybe later, and instead decide, today is the day. Because today is real. Today is yours. And every time you choose to use your English, whether it's starting a conversation, leaving a voice message, or just thinking your thoughts in English, you are unlocking progress that no textbook alone can give you. That progress doesn't come from perfection. It comes from practice, from brave, imperfect, consistent practice. And here's something powerful to remember: you don't need a classroom to grow. Your life is your classroom. The world around you is filled with opportunities to speak, to listen, to notice, to respond. The people you meet, the content you consume, the ideas you think about, all of these are part of your English environment. But you have to step into it. You have to stop waiting for someone to tell you you're ready and instead say, I choose to be ready now. Let go of the pressure to impress. Let go of the voice in your head that says, what if I sound stupid? Because sounding stupid isn't the problem, staying silent is. Silence doesn't build fluency. Silence doesn't give you feedback. Speaking, even clumsily, teaches you something every time. It shows you what you know, what you're missing, and what to work on next. It's not a failure. It's data. It's experience. It's growth. You don't get better by preparing forever. You get better by doing. Just like you don't learn how to ride a bike by watching videos about bikes, you get on, you wobble, you fall, and then one day, you're riding. The same is true with English. You won't magically speak fluently one day just by studying quietly. You'll speak fluently because you started speaking before you felt fluent, and you kept going. Even if your vocabulary is small, it's enough to start. Even if your grammar is shaky, it's enough to connect. People will understand you more than you think. And they'll admire your effort more than you expect. The courage it takes to speak a second language is visible, and people respect that. They may not remember your mistakes, but they'll remember your bravery. They'll remember the way you tried. And most importantly, you will remember it. Every time you speak, you'll build your memory of success. You'll stop thinking, I can't do this, and start thinking, hey, I did it once, I can do it again. That mindset shift is everything. It gives you energy. It gives you momentum. It makes you believe in yourself. And once you believe in yourself, there's no stopping you. Let's talk about something that often gets overlooked, the energy of starting. When you stop overthinking and just act, when you send that message, speak that sentence, join that conversation, something inside you shifts. You feel it. It's like flipping on a light. That one action tells your brain, I'm doing this. I'm not hiding anymore. And that small decision creates a ripple. One small moment leads to another. One brave word leads to a full sentence. One sentence becomes a habit. And habits create transformation. We often wait because we fear judgment, from others, and from ourselves. But the truth is, the harshest judge is often your own mind. You might think people are watching and waiting for you to mess up. They're not. Most people are too busy thinking about their own lives. And the people who do notice your English? They're likely to admire your effort, not your mistakes. So don't let imaginary critics silence your voice. Let your voice be loud. Be real. Be raw. Be learning in motion. Every time you hesitate and choose not to speak, you reinforce the belief that you're not ready. But every time you speak anyway, even with fear, even with mistakes, you rewrite that belief. You teach yourself something new, I can handle this. I can try. I can speak. And slowly, that courage turns into confidence. Not overnight, but gradually, steadily, with each choice to act. And don't underestimate how motivating it feels to take action. We think motivation has to come before action. But often, it comes after. You speak a little, and you feel proud. You write something, and you feel excited. That pride and excitement make you want to do more. And that's how momentum is born, not from waiting, but from doing. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Here's a mindset that changes everything, you already have enough to start. You don't need to know more words. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need a bigger vocabulary list. You need willingness. You need courage. And you need to stop holding yourself back. Because the best way to get ready, is to begin. You are not learning English for a perfect future version of yourself. You're learning for now. For today. For this moment, so you can connect, share, laugh, understand, express. Don't wait to feel fluent before you speak. Speak to become fluent. That's the path. That's the journey. So, what did we talk about today? We reminded ourselves of something powerful, that waiting for the perfect moment can hold us back more than we realize. That fluency isn't a magical point in the future, it's something you build today, with what you already know. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to know everything. You just need to use what you've got, now. Every time you choose to speak, write, or listen with intention, you're building your future self. Every message you send, every word you say, every idea you share, it all adds up. And it starts with a single decision, I'm not going to wait anymore. I'm going to use what I know now. Don't let hesitation steal your progress. Don't wait for permission to begin. You are already enough. You are already capable. And you are already on the path. So as you move through the rest of your day, I want you to carry this thought with you, I have something to say. And my English is good enough to say it. Speak. Try. Connect. Grow. You don't have to be flawless, just fearless enough to take the first step. Thank you for joining me today on Easy Peasy English, the podcast where we keep things simple, real, and focused on you. If today's episode inspired you, take a moment to reflect on how you can use your English in real life. Even one small action today can change everything. Until next time, remember this: you don't need to wait to be great. You just need to begin. Your voice matters. And the world is waiting to hear it, in your words, exactly as they are. See you in the next episode. You've got this.